In October of the year 2020 at Minecon Live, Minecraft 1.17 was announced, the Caves and Cliffs update. However, as great as that is, and despite it probably deserving more attention than this, I decided that I want to talk about the almost inconsequential mob vote that occurred simultaneously. Mojang decided to give the community a decision. They presented us with 3 mobs, and we were tasked with voting for which one should be added in the vanilla game. And, even though only one mob was confirmed to add new game mechanics, while the other 2 were barely more than reskins of... Calm down. It's just a game. Doesn't matter. The Glow Squid won. I could go on about how the Isolager was clearly the best option, but that would be useless. It already lost. Instead, I will console myself by trying to convince myself that the Glow Squid could be the best option. This video can also serve as a suggestion for Mojang on how to implement the squid, since they have been very vocal about wanting to receive feedback and suggestions from the community. So without further ado, here is how I believe that the Glow Squid could be great. Dynamic lighting. It has been confirmed that the Glow Squid will have an emissive texture that can be seen in full brightness despite its surrounding light level. However, the Glow Squid is the perfect opportunity to introduce moving light sources. This is a fairly simple feature that would be seen throughout the game, not just the Glow Squid. Holding a torch in your offhand could save you many resources in the dark, deep, expansive caves of 1.17. However, it clearly has a downside. Since you are not lighting up the caves behind you, mob spawns are unaffected, keeping you in constant danger of an arrow in your back. You could even limit someone's visibility with the darkness in a build, but still allow them to observe what is close to them by giving them a lantern before they enter. Of course, this feature is present in the extremely popular mod Optifine. However, having it in the base game would be one less feature that we would have to rely on third parties for, making it a feature now possible in Bedrock game versions of the game, and for people who don't want to download even client-side mods. Animated mob textures. This feature is also present within the aforementioned Optifine. Animated mob textures is a more niche feature that would only be useful within the resource pack making community. Having vanilla support for animated textures on all mobs would allow for more customization with resource packs and would no longer require mobs like the old MC Patcher and now Optifine. Again, no longer relying on a third-party add-on to the game would make these features just that much more accessible to the larger community. There is some evidence for this feature maybe being in the game at some point with the form of the Warden. However, the perceived animation on the Warden's chest cavity, while a cool effect, is not an actual animation. It is simply fluctuating the emissiveness, is that a word? Of the texture, making it brighter and darker, simulating some sort of heartbeat. Glowing dye. Whenever a new mob is added to the game, one of the fundamental questions about it is, what will it drop? Squids drop ink sacs, which are used to make black dye. This has been in the game since 1.2. It seems only logical that the squid variation would drop some sort of variation on the old ink sacs. Being a glowing squid, it seems only logical that it would drop glowing ink sacs. These could be crafted into glowing dye, which could then be given color when combining it with any of the already existing dyes. Glowing banner patterns, glowing leather armor, and glowing sheep all potential light sources when combined with the dynamic lighting, but more importantly, even a simply emissive texture would add such an alien effect when building and detailing builds, not previously possible. Having all these glowing textures could give a somewhat magical vibe. And of course, if you can make a glowing sheep, then you can shear its glowing wool. More light sources, yay! Being wool, obviously it has different colors, so colored lighting, which the community has wanted for a while, would be possible with this wool. It's almost a given. Hypnotics. Sadly, this feature has been confirmed by King B Dogs, the developer for Minecraft, to not be planned for the game. I suggest this be reconsidered. Having the glow squid attract other aquatic mobs and slow their movement could be used in so many ways. It could even affect the player, making glow squids somewhat dangerous to be around. It would work more or less like this. If ever you look directly at the squid, it could give you the hypnotized effect. This would make you unable to jump or swim upwards, and it would severely slow down the movement of your camera, usually controlled with the mouse. The moment the glow squid is off screen, this effect would wear off. Of course, this effect would only be activated if you looked directly at the squid, the same way that if an Enderman were to get looked at directly, it would get mad. The ocean right now only really has one danger in the form of drowned, and they're honestly a pretty run-of-the-mill hostile mob. This would add a passive mob that still needs to be handled carefully. It wouldn't put you in direct danger, and obviously this should only work within a certain range of the squid, unlike provoking an Enderman, which you can do from dozens of blocks away. Also, it would make the advancement of how did we get here even more difficult to obtain. Little side note, I didn't consider the Guardians because they're practically exclusive to the ocean monuments, so most of the time you're not going to be dealing with those while in the ocean. If these features were to be added to the game along with the glow squid, I could honestly say that it was the right decision for the mob vote. Thanks for listening. If you are a Mojang developer, please consider these. I don't expect everything, or even anything that I mentioned, to become a reality, but I think it would be a great addition to Minecraft without really changing the core essence of the game. Subscribe and like and all that YouTube stuff. I sadly don't upload often, sorry, but I want to change that, and getting feedback is really helpful on how I can make better videos.